Yo, welcome to the Birdman Show. Let's dive deep. Murder mysteries and tales that make you lose sleep. We re-uncover in the darkness the stories we'll keep. Laughing about the silliness while we leap and we sweep. Here's to mental health, let's break the chains. Friends talking it out, we got no shame. On the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold. Mysteries and madness, stories bold. From silly to serious, every episode's gold. Together we rise, let the secrets be told. From the worst of the worst, we reshining some light. Unraveling the tales of crime in the night. Crack a smile with the stories, take flight in the fight. Relationships and wisdom, we keep the vibe right. Bring your laughter, share your pain. In this journey together we read breaking the grave. On the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold. Mysteries and madness, stories bold. From silly to serious, every episode's gold. Together we rise, let the secrets be told. So tune in with us, take a seat. The Birdman Show's where the real ones meet. Yo, welcome to the Birdman Show. Let's dive deep. Murder mysteries and tales that make you lose sleep. We re-uncover in the darkness the stories we'll keep. Laughing about the silliness while we leap and we sweep. Here's to mental health, let's break the chains. Friends talking it out, we got no shame. On the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold. Mysteries and madness, stories bold. From silly to serious, every episode's gold. Together we rise, let the secrets be told. From the worst of the worst, we reshining some light. Unraveling the tales of crime in the night. Crack a smile with the stories, take flight in the fight. Relationships and wisdom, we keep the vibe right. Bring your laughter, share your pain. In this journey together we read breaking the grave. On the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold. Mysteries and madness, stories bold. From silly to serious, every episode's gold. Together we rise, let the secrets be told. From the worst of the worst, we reshining some light. From the Birdman Show, let the truth unfold.
What is up, everybody? How are we doing? As this was supposed to stop. I don't know why it didn't. Oh, Jesus. I didn't see Miss D popped in either. Anyways, what is up, everybody? How are we doing? It's your boy, the Birdman. Got Mace Valor, got Miss D with me. Yeah. I'm trust me, I'm trying to get my brain to go because it's been a day. But anyways, you guys know what to do. Why don't you go ahead and do it with me? If you can, Miss D, hit him with it one time. Caca. There you go. I like the caca. No, wait, that didn't sound right. I think that did not sound right. Oh God, we're already starting off wonderfully. Oh Jesus. As you hear the song in the background, this is how we do. That's how we do on the Birdman Show. Yeah. Anyways, I hope everybody's doing well. At least better than I am right now because words are hard. Hey, got my cousin in the house. Erica sent. What up, girl? How you doing, fam? How you doing? Good to see you. Yeah. So we're kind of trucking right along here. But yeah, I've got to say what's up to my co-host first before we get this thing popping because I got something special for you guys tonight. So we gotta say what's up. You know how we do here. Ladies first, Miss D. Like the song said, how you do?
My back feels like it's gonna explode. I have not stopped today, but I'm good. I'm on my way home. So camera's going off in a minute.
Yeah, I feel you. I understand that, and I appreciate it. Appreciate your dedication. Appreciate that very much. Very, 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 very much. Mace, how are you doing? I know you were busy working in the garage. How are you doing?
Good.
One of those days?
No, it's just I totally forgot about this. Like I set up my whole day, and just as I started to get started in the garage, then I got the message from you. I'm like, oh crap. So it basically is going to shift everything I have to do because I have to do it. I don't have a choice. I have to get that done as soon as possible. So
trust me, I get that because the same thing with me. And I end up having to go and do my mom's oil change in her car. So I had to go get all that done before I came back home to get in the studio. So trust me, bro, I get it. I most definitely get it. And it's like you know what? When I think about stuff like that, you know what? Much has not changed since we was in the military. You know what I'm saying? At least we got a little better paycheck while we was in there doing this crap. But it is what it is. Hey, listen. Like I said, we've got a fun episode for you. Now, this is a Can You Survive episode from our Can You Survive series that we've been doing. Was I the one that came up with this?
Oh, the Can You Survive thing you came up with.
I think it was a collaborative.
I think it might have came from something else and then it morphed into
Like,
Can You
let's make
Survive.
it into a.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
but anyways, oh yeah, what are you saying?
I think it was more of a collaborative, like it morph thing into a series.
Yeah. So either way, this one's going to be kind of fun. Now we've kind of hinted on this one once before, but we never really went into depth on anything. So when I first thought about it, I was thinking, and I'm gonna tell you what I was thinking first. Okay, I was thinking, you know what, we're gonna do a Can You Survive movie horror edition. That's where I was originally going. But then we had our episode on Monday, and it shifted my whole thought process. Because there's a lot of things that go along with it. We're talking about, we're doing our, you might as well just say it, our Bible series, religious series that we're doing right now on Conspiracy Files. And this one kind of shifted my focus once I started thinking about that. So I was like, you know what? Let's just change this up a bit. So I'm going to throw that stuff down there. So we're doing a Can You Survive the End of the World? All right. Now, not the end of the world you might think, because like I said, this originally was the Can You Survive the End of the World? We're going to do a movie edition, like a Resident Evil meets I don't know, The Cabin in the Woods slash what's another good one? I Am Legend slash I don't know, whatever end of the world apocalyptic movie, book, TV series you could have ever thought of. That's where my mind originally was going. Not to say that it's not going. What the heck? I got two Miss D's in here.
What?
I got two of you in here.
That's messed up.
I'll remove that one. Let's just get rid of that one. I'm not going to ban you from this. I'll kick this one out of the studio. How about that?
Okay.
All right. Now, okay, you're back. What the heck happened?
I went through a dead zone, so.
I just thought about something. I had two Miss D's in there, so had a double D. Oh, that boy on fire tonight, boy. I'm telling you, that boy on fire tonight. Woo! Put him out. Put him out. He's on fire. Anyways. Double D, that's awesome. Anyways, we're talking about, like I said, Can You Survive the End of the World? Now, when I say something like that, and like I said, in this part, we've kind of somewhat hinted on some of this before in one of our other Can You Survive episodes, but that one was more of a collection of events. And some of the end of the world type stuff kind of came into it. So when you think about this, as we're putting it like this, and you're kind of understanding where I'm going with this, what is the first thing that you kind of think about when it comes to something like this? Miss D, we'll start with you.
I mean, I come from a survivalist family. We can hunt. We can, I know how to purify water. Like as far as that stuff, I mean, we can survive. And the things I don't know, I know people that do. So,
right.
So far so good. I think I'll be all right.
I just wanted you to know I was totally not laughing at you. I was laughing at my cousin because she put in the comment, "These nuts."
Listen, no, they were removed a long time. No, I'm kidding. I never had any.
Oh, that's hilarious! I love it. I freaking love it. Mace, Valor, same question to you, sir.
What do I think about questions of surviving things?
When we look at this title, Can You Survive the End of the World? knowing where I was talking about going with this, what comes to mind when you first initially hear that and then think about what we were just talking about?
Well, it reminds me of like initially reminds me when I was a kid and we'd be on the playground at school just talking with friends of like which one of us is most badass. You know, it's like, hey, if the zombie apocalypse happened, what would you do? And typically the answer was always stupid. People would be like, oh, I would jump up on the roof and grab a machine gun and shoot them all. And I'm like, yeah, that'd be great if we lived in a video game where there's just weapons laying around everywhere and you could jump 20 feet high. But realistically, right here, right now, where we are standing with what is available to us in the bodies we inhabit with the skill sets that we presently have, what are you going to do? Most often, you're going to die. That's why in most crazy scenarios, the vast majority of people will be put to an end. It's just how it is. It's like, I love post-apocalyptic and dystopian stuff, but I know that if I was really in one of those situations, the statistics are greatly weighed against me. It's just the hard truth and reality of it. But yeah, that's usually what I think of. It's the fantasy of being able to survive these things and the what ifs I would do. In your head, they're all fantasies. You know, everything goes right in your head. And if you can imagine something going wrong, you also imagine what you do to get out of it. So yeah, I have to humble myself and realize I'll statistically die relatively quickly in those events. Just is what it is.
I'm gonna tell you right now, no, you won't. And you know why you won't die? Because you got me, brother. I got you back. Don't worry about it. I got you back.
1,500 miles away for sure.
They don't take. Hey, listen. First of all, if I already know the world's coming, I'm coming to get you first. I'm like, hey, Mace, round the family up. You get your butt to me as quick as possible. Ask no questions, and I tell you no lies. What was you about to say, Miss D?
Well, I mean, Mace also basically lives in the desert. So, I mean, resources are not as abundant in that area of the country. So, yeah, I mean, your first instinct being in a place like that would be get the hell out of there into a place that has more resources to use. I mean, you guys, you know, you've trained to survive in, you know, nasty inhabitable areas. And I feel that, you know, you'd probably lean back on those survival skills that you were taught.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with you when it comes to that. And there's certain things I know initially that I would just do when we're going to get to a lot of that. There's certain things I would know I would actually do that wouldn't take much for me to just do it and go. Right. There's some other things that would require some definitely planning and some other things, but you know, it is what it is. But here's what we're gonna do. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start this off by saying this because I gotta ask you guys some questions. You know, I got questions, right? The Birdman got questions, and I need some answers to these questions. Okay, so we're gonna get there. All right. So here we go. It's the end of the world, right? It's the end of the world. We've seen it 1,000 times in the movies, right? We read all about it in the books. We debate about it in the comment sections and around campfires. But what does the end actually look like? Not the Hollywood version, not the CGI explosion, the real one. The one they say when the grid goes down, what goes down? What really goes down? The first thing you lose isn't lights, it's time. No clocks, no phones, no schedules, just you, your family, and the sound of your own heartbeat, wondering if it's day or night. So here's a question I'm going to hit with you tonight, and I want it to sit with you. You ready for that question? That question is this. When the world stops grinding, do you grind back or do you get ground up? Now, I really want you to think about that. I really want you to think about that. And that's going to be a question we're going to come back to later. I also have some poll questions I'm going to be putting up as well throughout this episode. So definitely be prepared for those as well. Now, I'm the Birdman. This is the Birdman Show. And tonight we're answering one question: can you survive the end of the world? It's the end of the world as we know it. Anyways, people, let's get this bad boy crack-a-lacking. Yeah, I said it. I like to bring some old school sayings back. Sue me. Well, I mean, you can try. I don't have anything for you to sue me for, but anyways. Okay, now let's start here. Okay, now we hear a lot of stuff when it comes about the end of the world, this and that. But where's the first place you can think of when it comes to somebody talking about the end of the world? What do you think, Mace?
What do I think of? What's the question exactly?
When you hear the word, when you hear somebody say, "Oh, we're going to talk about the end of the world," if they're going to talk about the end of the world, what's the first thing you think they're going to probably pull that from?
It's probably something from media. There's a lot of dystopian, post-apocalyptic, disaster media out there that postulate the question of like what happens when an event of such a monumental scale puts everyone on the same playing field where we're all going to die, right? Mm-hmm. And effectively from those perspectives, everything that we know of the modern reality kind of ceases to function. Like, let's say, like there's a lot of media with like an asteroid coming to wipe everything out. Well, from that perspective, it's like, all right, we're given a definitive that in X amount of time, and it's usually in the media, it's usually relatively quickly, within a few days to like a month or two. This thing is going to come and wipe out everybody. No one will survive. So that's when you have like the elite of the world will try to escape it. They'll try to find a way to survive in their own way in this new ruined landscape. But the vast majority of the billions upon billions of people in the world are going to cease to live. And what that does is it essentially puts everyone on an even playing field, with the exception of the elite that are able to find some type of way to survive. We've seen that with movies like Greenland, where they had bunkers all around the world. So when the comet shard came and like destroyed everything, there were dedicated places where people could survive. And so what this does is for the people that discover this, the last days on Earth are fought with turmoil and everyone just struggling to try to survive. They for people that don't know of any possible bunker, then fine. Yeah, it's the last couple days on Earth. Let's just run wild, do whatever we want. Nothing has any consequences. Let's travel to go be with our loved ones in our final moments, et cetera, et cetera. But for those that do know that there is the possibility of surviving this calamity, that there is some semblance of hope, they will most likely try to pursue that. And within that pursuit, they're going to be meeting other people that have the same pursuit. And often that will put different parties at odds with one another. Like using Greenland as another example, they chose the people in that bunker that would most likely be able to be helpful in repopulating the world. People that had knowledge and experience. That's at least in that how that worked. But then in other media, like we saw with the movie 2012, all of the arcs that they built were basically sold to the highest bidder. So if you were really wealthy, if you were like a celebrity, if you were in a position of power in the government, those people got spots on these arcs, whereas the rest of the world was told nothing. They were just not even told a calamity was coming. They were given nothing to prepare. They were just living life the way it was normally. So yeah, getting off on a tirade, but yeah. When I think of the end of the world stuff, like that's usually where I think it's most likely going to go. It's like an opportunity for mankind to have its last days, and in some particular cases, there's the hope to survive the coming calamity. So do you just spend whatever time you have left the best that you can? Do you enjoy whatever is left of the material world before it ends? Or do you do everything in your power to try to stop the inevitable?
Okay. Ms. D, question. So when you hear the topic, and you hear about the end of the world, where do you think that comes from? What is one place you think that comes from?
So, I mean, to kind of play off of Mace here a little bit, I mean, you're going to see revolution, you're going to see uprising, you're going to see, you know, zealots, you're going to see people kind of almost, it's going to be pure chaos. I mean, we hear about it in the media, we hear about it on social media, social platforms, we hear about it through ancient texts, scripture, all of that, there is going to be an end of the world as we know it. But do we translate that as literal, the world is going to end, or do we translate it as the end as we know it? Every time an infrastructure collapses, that is the end of the world as we know it. Do we rebuild? Do we, find new technologies, or do we learn to adapt to it? That's the difference. So, I mean, as far as, where does it come from? I think it comes from, inner self-preservation and the knowledge that this plane for us will end eventually for all of us.
Yeah, I agree. Now, here's where my mind first goes. When I hear about somebody says something about the end of the world, the first thing I think about is the Bible. All right. Ms. D kind of hinted around to it when we talk about the scriptures. And she kind of hinted around it when it comes to that. That's the first place my mind goes. Because once again, growing up in the church, somebody says the end of the world, my mind automatically goes back to everything that was drilled into me when I was a kid and all the way into my adulthood. So that's the first thing I think about. So if I think about that, let's start there with the Old Testament, right? We'll start with the Old Testament prophet Daniel. His writing about the end time and his painting of a picture that looks a lot like what we're seeing on the news right now. So both of what you guys said plays into what I'm saying right now. I feel you on that. Right. I feel you on that, Erica. So in Daniel, and I'm gonna put this in the chat, I'll put that in the chat as well. And I'll go ahead and it's gonna cut off because unfortunately you can only put so much on there. So it says in Daniel 12:1, the angel tells him, at that time, Michael, the great prince who protects your people, will arise. There will be a time of distress such as has not happened from the beginning of nations until then. Okay, and that's the rest of it right there. Okay. Now you ask yourself, what does that mean? Because going back to what Ms. D said, as we know it, we got to remember when this Bible was written and all this stuff was going on, it was a different time. They didn't have, we'll say they didn't have all the stuff that we have now. So the end time for them, if you look at it, if you're talking about literally or, whatever it looks like, could be completely different from what it would look like for us at an end time. Depends on what you believe in. Depends on where your mind goes. Okay. Now, going back to what Ms. D said, now listen to that language. A time of distress such as not has happened. Not a bad storm, not a rough patch, unexpected distress. The kind that makes you question if you're going to see tomorrow. Now, if you take it in that context, does that kind of fit kind of what we're doing right now? What you see right now? I'm not talking about the rest of the world. Let's talk about America here because I don't live in the rest of the world. I live in America. When you think about what's going on here in America, taking that, even if you take the Bible and if you take what's going on and you put that together and you listen to it when it says, listen to that language, a time of distress such as has not happened. Not a bad storm, not a rough patch, unexpected distress, the kind that makes you question if you're going to see tomorrow. When you think about it in that text, what are your thoughts then? We'll start with you, Miss D.
Well, again, I mean, if you're going back to biblical scripture, I mean, look at Ecclesiastes where I forget the exact chapter and verse, but it talks about the season and there's a time for everything. And
yeah.
so, I mean, there is a time for destruction. There is a time for sorrow, and there's a time for happiness. There's a time, for everything under the sun. Okay. So if you're going to go spiritual and scriptural, we need.
I think Miss D might have hit a rough patch. Yeah, because we just lost her. Yep, we just lost her. Mace.
What's up?
Since we lost Miss D,
Oh.
she'll come back in. Don't worry about it. Same thing. Yes, there she is right there, actually. Hello? 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 This time I got one. This time I got 1D.
So what?
This time I got 1D.
Hey. Oh my goodness. I've never had this much issues.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah, but I mean, notice we always have issues like this. So when we start talking about sensitive topics,
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah. I'm surprised we didn't have any issues when it came to the Epstein stuff.
Oh my goodness, right?
That's
Control. It's a controlled operation. They want us to be desensitized to that stuff, which is why they keep pushing it in front of our face.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty plausible. Anyways, where you want to finish up on that, Miss D?
Where did it cut me off?
If you look at it in the biblical sense.
Oh, so if you look at things like in a literal biblical sense, the fear and end time, I mean, all that does is cause chaos within yourself. So, I mean, what is your season, your personal season? Where are you in your own personal journey to know if this is an end time for you or not?
Okay. Mace, thoughts?
Well, the biblical stuff, you guys already know my stance. I believe all that crap already happened, and we live in the short season long past it. But aside from all that hoopla, in the terms of like our perception as human beings living in different societies, every single generation feels as if they're living in the end of the world. Everyone can take anything from any biblical, religious, of any denomination, of any faith system, and formulate how the current meta of today is a mirror of whatever potentiality could be the end of the world. Where we live in a constant state of flux where things are always changing. We're led by people that weaponize incompetence, yet we keep voting the same people in. And this is not just an America thing. This is all over the world. We just so happen to all choose leaders that routinely use and abuse their power without the care and consideration of the actual people of the nation at all. So long story short, we all feel to an extent that we're living within shifting times. And because of that, it lessens the impact that these things could potentially have. So what do I mean when I say that? When we think of an actual end of the world, it's not just, oh no, the state of my life is totally different. I mean, yeah, it's like, what is it? From apotheosis is like the Greek for, it means revelations. It means times of change, right? Mm-hmm. And just like Ms. D said, it's like the end of the world as we know it. It's the shifting of one state of being into another. It doesn't necessarily mean the end. So when we look at the actual end and we postulate that idea, like let's think of a definitive end. That is where it's like the end of all, right? That's when we're talking about crazy events that will cause mass destruction. It doesn't have to be like rubble everywhere. It could be something like a virus that just wipes out all of us. It could be an alien invasion that wipes out all of us because we're dealing with stuff beyond our mortal comprehension. It could be an asteroid that comes and destroys everything. It could be a super volcano breaking up all the surfaces of the earth and just submerging us all into the sea. When you think of the actual end, whatever the event is more than just like your tap water running dry. I mean, they've been dealing with that in all sorts of different places of the world. Even in places in America, we've dealt with tap water, like in Flint, Michigan, where it's basically toxic and you can't use it. But we've been dealing with that for decades. So is that really the end of the world? No. And a true definitive end of the world is perspectively based. It doesn't necessarily have to mean the physical world, but in the terms that we're referencing it, the end of humanity.
Right.
Like, whoosh. And we see a lot of that in media. Like there's The Last of Us, for example. That's a fungus that was able to jump over and control human beings. So now we're mushroom zombies, and that was basically the end of the world. The people that do remain, there's very, very few. And as time goes on, it might take a long time for the world to definitively, bam, it's ended, because you could have pockets of survivors here and there, even like with the nuclear holocaust, you could have pockets of survivors here and there, but the landscape has been so disastrously poisoned, and just the state of our environment of living in this world has been so like altered and changed. It would get to a point where the preceding generations just won't be able to happen.
Yeah, I like that. And I'm gonna tell you that, and I'm gonna continue on with this, but there was a TV show that came out years ago. I think it was out before I even joined the military. But it didn't last very long, and I was kind of upset. I didn't understand why it did, and I was kind of upset about it because it had a great premise. But maybe it was because of what it was dealing with. So it was dealing with basically the end of the world. And basically what happened was the world's grid, internet, everything completely collapsed, shut down. And I'm talking about this is in 2003, 2003 when this TV show came out. The name of it was called Revolution.
No, that was while we were in the Army.
Wasn't it while we were in?
That's when new episodes were coming out. We used to go to Flores's place to watch new episodes of it.
Okay, so yeah, Revolution. Okay, so I thought it was before, but maybe okay, yeah, no. Then I mean, yeah, if we're watching, yeah, because I know we were watching that and Walking Dead, so Revolution, and it was I thought the premise of it was great, and I was like, man, why did this show stop? Like, this is great. Like, they were trying to get the grid shut back on. They found out there was the government that was involved in this. And now it kind of makes more sense why it probably did get shut down.
I can tell you why it got shut down. The writing was dog shit. The first season was really good. Then the second, it just went in the weirdest. Here's the thing: the people that wrote that show finished it in the form of a series of comic books, and it gets more and more unhinged, and it's very cringy. I feel like whoever started it is not the same person that continued it.
That's what I felt too.
Because the writing, it felt very like CW-esque, like it's made for teenagers. Yeah. I don't know. Long story short, it's just progressively bad. Basically, what ended the world was these nanobots that turn off electricity. Okay, that's what caused the end of the world. Were these nanobots? And then they came up with this idea to make the nanobots like a hive mind, to where they're intelligent. So now it's like nanobots plus like within the nanobots is like sentient intelligence, and it just got too, and it's trying to do all that while dealing with all these other little stories, and it's like, I don't know, it just too much.
Yeah, there was. I felt it was like now if they man, I'll tell you, if they'd have hit it as if like they were doing The Walking Dead, I think that show would have been a hit. Like I said, I agree. Season 1 was phenomenal. I loved it. That's why I was so looking forward to it. Then it just got but yeah, I agree with both what you guys were saying. Now I have one more Bible verse, and I'm gonna kick with this, and then we're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna get into the other part of this where we're gonna step away from the Bible. We're gonna get to some real crazy stuff here. Okay, So the other verse is we did Daniel 12:1. Now we're gonna do the second Daniel 2. I'm also put that in the chat right now. That link that I put in the chat also reference this, so you can guys go check a look at that. And it says Daniel 12:2 says multitudes who sleep in the dust of the earth will awake, some to everlasting life, others to shame and everlasting contempt. Now that's the first time in the Old Testament you see a twofold resurrection. Some awake to glory, some awake to judgment. And if you track all the way to Revelation, you see the same pattern: the great tribulation, the persecution of believers, and the ultimate deliverance. Okay. But here's where it gets me. The angels say many will awake, not all. Why? Because not everyone experiences the same end. The martyrs will die during the tribulation, get resurrected at the end of the tribulation. Revelations 20:4 spells it out. The rest, they wait. That's a whole different thing. Okay. Like I said, all that's in that link that I sent there as well. Now, here comes the first poll question. You guys ready for your first poll question? Okay. We talked about, and most people know about the Bible. I mean, or heard about some of this stuff. Definitely we're dealing with this, and put this first poll question up. Okay, so here's the first poll question. All right. The Bible says some are delivered from tribulation, from tribulations, others through it. Which one are you? Meaning, okay, if you're ready for this, meaning, let me make sure I got this right, because it didn't show everything I wanted on there. So I have to make sure. Where's it at? There it is. Okay. So put 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. Like I said, the Bible says some are delivered from tribulations, others through it. Which one are you? And meaning, which one are you preparing for? Your first option is rapture ready, meaning I'm banking on being taken before the worst hits. Option 2, endure and overcome. I'm preparing to fight through it no matter what. Or option 3, undecided. I'm still figuring out what I believe. Okay. So there's your options. Like I said, the Bible says some are delivered through or from tribulations, others through it. Which one are you preparing for? Rapture ready, endure and overcome, or undecided. All right. So I'm gonna leave that up there. When we come back from commercial break, I'll put the poll back up, and then we'll kind of discuss that a little bit and see where we are. Okay, so like I said, we're gonna take a real quick commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna do more of this. Can you survive? We'll be right back after this. This commercial break is brought to you by 143 Infinite Designs. At 143 Infinite Designs, they believe that fashion is a powerful way to celebrate love, creativity, and connection. It is their mission to bring people together through custom, stylish, and meaningful t-shirt designs that enable everyone to express their unique stories, passions, and personalities. At 143 Infinite Designs, they also aim to make every piece a reflection of kindness, unity, and infinite imaginations, spreading positivity one shirt at a time. So if you'd like more information, please reach out by calling 620-454-6588 or by email 143infinitedesigns@gmail.com. What is up, everybody? How you doing? It is your boy, the Birdman from the Birdman Show. I got Miss D rocking with me. I got Mace rocking with me. You guys already know too. Why don't you go ahead and do it with us? Miss D.
Caw.
There you go. I'm not gonna say what I said last time. That was just
That
that's
just wasn't
wrong.
right. Yeah.
It wasn't at all. Not even
No.
close. Yeah, it's whatever. I'm gonna remind everybody about the opening question. I want you to think about this, and we'll revisit it again at the end of the show. The opening question was: when the world stops grinding, do you grind back or do you get ground up? I might have to make a t-shirt on that one. Anyways, we're back. We're talking about can you survive the end of the world? We've been hitting all over the place right now. We've been talking about the Bible version of it. We're into some other things as this show progresses. But first, I gotta say what's up to my co-hosts and see how you're holding up. Miss D, how the heck are you doing? You hear my I ambitious of a rider.
I'm home, so there's a plus. I'm no longer driving, so
Okay.
in a little bit I'll go in the house and get set up. But as of right now, I'm just gonna chill right here with you guys.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Hey, Mace Valor, what are you doing? How we doing?
Good. Same old same. Chilling.
Okay, I like it. I like it. Okay, so I'm gonna put the poll question back up for those who get a chance. Like I said, for those who are watching right now, who's gonna be watching later, like I said, you can put those in the comment what you feel. Like I said, question is the Bible says some are delivered from tribulations or from tribulation, others through it. Which one are you, and what are you preparing for? Are you A, raptured ready because I'm banking on being taken out before things get worse? Are you option two, endure and overcome? I'm preparing to fight through it no matter what. Or are you option three, undecided? I'm still figuring out what I believe. I think there's a lot of people that are like that. Option three, especially with the way that things are going right now. They don't know what to believe anymore. So it's tough, and I get it. I appreciate you just hang in there, people. That's like I say, hang in there, keep fighting. Even if you're a mix of all three, just keep going, just keep fighting. Okay, all right. Let's move this along. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and shut that down for right now. Okay, so thus far, when you think about what we just talked about, like I said, we talked about we started talking about the Bible version of everything. Where are you at this point in time? Would you say you are with this, Miss D?
So, I mean, as you guys know, and most of the audience knows that I am not Christian. I can spit a great game. I know quite a bit of theology, and I can definitely recall scripture. Now, with that being said, do I believe in an afterlife? Yes, I do. Do I think, in a biblical sense, I think this world has ended several times over. I mean, if you look at scripture, look at the Tower of Babel when that was destroyed and people were strewn across the world and speak in different tongues so they couldn't communicate. Look at the flood and everybody perish. That didn't make it on the ark and this that and the next. I mean, um, we've had wars and I mean at this point it's all nothing more than a big thunderdome and to see who's going to be the survivor. um but as far as I'm a firm believer of what I stated earlier, the end of the world as we know it versus the actual end of the world. Now, Mace brought up a good thing about the difference between the end of the world versus the end of humanity. Um, so I mean, I think kind of skewing things a little bit to that aspect. I mean, we if you look at science and the loss of dinosaurs and evolution from like the Neanderthals and like different types of humanoids and to where we are today, I mean, it's an ever changing evolution of the world. So, I mean, is there an end to us at some point? Absolutely. And not for nothing, we basically live on a rock floating in space. If our sun goes supernova and implodes, we're all dead. You know, if we're struck by an asteroid, who knows? We're all dead. I mean, we can't plan that. We can't prevent that
Yeah.
as of this moment. So, you know what? Just live your life every single day to the fullest you possibly can, and just be done with it.
I hear you. I like it. Love it. It's what's up? How you doing, sis? Hope you're doing well. I'm doing well. Mace, do you have anything you want to comment?
I mean, I'm the weird one in the group, because like
How do
there
you
are
determine
things I
that?
believe there's some crossover on things that I believe for both of you guys, and also there's like the crossover where I believe in things very differently than you guys. So I think that's kind of what makes us like a really cool group overall. It's like with Tim is mentioning the stuff with the rapture, which I don't believe in at all, and I could go into the details how the very notion and the creation and the idea of the rapture is fan fiction by the Rothschilds to influence Americans to support Zionism. There's a direct path through line for exactly that. It starts with the Schofield Reference Bible, and then it goes into the whole end of World War I, and then the Balfour Declaration, and the Rothschilds basically owning the area of Palestine, and that brings us up until today, right? So there's that through path there. That's where it's like, hey, I'm the one weird Christian that I believe so much of Christianity, but my explanations and my explanations for it are very different than a lot of other people. But then the same thing with Ms. D is saying, it's like there's a lot that really kind of resonates with what she believes and the things that she brings to the table. I'm like, yeah, but I don't believe in the whole space thing. Once again, I'm nuts. I'm crazy. I could go into explanations as to why, but once again, I just don't want to get on a huge tirade, which we've all had and done before. So it's like we all kind of agree that things are weird, and we're trying to like collect it and make sense of it the best that we can from our own individual perspectives. And we share that with each other. We share that with you guys. And it's like the one unifying thing that kind of like, it's that search for commonality. And that's like something that I like. If I were to preach something, it would be to like, hey, let's not argue the specifics because that gets us nowhere. Let's try to find the commonality in everything. So, but I don't know. Hopefully I answered your question in there somewhere.
No, yeah, you did. Gotta say what's up. When I said Itchy's in the house, but I also gotta say what's up to my cousin, my other cousin, Jason, was in the house. What up, fam? What is up, fam? Now Jason asked a question. Miss D, I'm gonna let you tackle this question. Okay.
All right.
So Jason asked a question. He said, I have questions about Revelation or about a rapture. Revelation 20 says different, and I never saw the word rapture mentioned. It also puts, based on my knowledge, the good never leaves the earth. Imagine God having only bad people on earth. He made the earth and says there will be a new heaven and new earth.
Mm-hmm.
So going back to that first question, I'm gonna put it back up there. What is your response to that?
Well, so I mean, the rapture situation again. I pretty much agree with Mace on that. And the next time somebody says the rapture is coming, I'm getting my hands on as many blow up dolls as possible and the biggest tank of helium that I can because I think it would be hilarious. But, you know, as far as what he said about the good on earth. So there is that saying, finding heaven on earth. Heaven is the way I see it. Heaven is a completely different dimension, and we've talked about dimensions and whatnot on the show before. And it's a dimension that I think can take over time and space on a continuum that we as, you know, humans on this plane of existence cannot comprehend. So therefore we cannot see it. That little slice of paradise that we feel is heaven on earth, and you know, that we might get little glimpses of it, but it's not something that we can truly experience in the realm of what we are at this moment.
Okay, I'm with you on that. Why I ask Mace his thoughts on that. Miss D, I'm putting that it's in the chat right now. Could you look that up for me? If you can, if you have a way to look that up for me. For that First Thessalonians 4:17.
I am not inside right at the moment, but give me a few minutes and I will.
Go for it, Mace.
Oh yeah, the Thessalonian thing, that's in the Schofield Reference Bible. That's like the telling part of the whole idea of the rapture. You got to remember, before Schofield wrote the Reference Bible, there wasn't any commentary Bible like that. Anything that you had that was close to it was basically just for translation purposes. Schofield was the first one to basically go in and further explain what different things are to mean. So the way that you could analyze this is if you look at Rabbinic Judaism. So this is after the fall of the Second Temple with the Romans. Then you had the exile of the Jews. They went into Rabbinic Judaism, which is where we get the Talmud from. And that's basically where you have long stretches of argumentation trying to derive further meaning in hyper-specific ways from scripture. This is where modern day Jews and their whole loophole thing, that's where that comes from. Because it's like a hyper fixation on trying to just derive exact meaning. And so the Schofield Reference Bible was exactly like that. And that was historically, as far as human history is concerned, that is the first rendition of any idea of a rapture. It comes from the Schofield Reference Bible with that. And then from that, then you had that publication company that published that manuscript, owned and operated by the Rothschilds, put that Bible for free, offered it to every single church in America. So a lot of American denominations that, you know, even after time, after they split off, they go back and, you know, if you go back in history, they're going back to the Reference Bible, which is a reference of the King James Bible. So this is like when you start to do like linguistic history stuff, because a lot of people like me, for example, I don't read a lot of modern day Bibles. I read the 1599 Geneva Bible because that's the first English translation. But that's just a starting point reference because even that has its own translation issues. So there's the Tanakh, which is the Hebrew Bible. Then there's also the Tylan, which is the Greek for the New Testament. These are like old renditions of those particular things of scripture. And we understand that a lot of these problems where people are arguing about the specifics and coming up with, well, this means that, and this means that, it's all predicated upon whatever version of the translation that they're reading from. Prime example is Satan, right? When we talk about Satan, we think of, you know, the devil, right? Like stereotypical devil. But when you go back and you actually look at, well, what did the Hebrews mean? There's a couple different variations. You have the Satan, which just basically means the accuser. You also have Satan referenced as an actual angel. This is in the book of Job, of basically like, hey, let's test this guy and see if he's going to curse God, and we do all these horrible things, right? So it's basically, it's not historically, it's not referencing a single individual entity that is like in a constant war against God, because a lot of the modern day variations of Satan is based upon Paradise Lost. Paradise Lost is not scripture. Paradise Lost is poetry. It's akin to Dante's Inferno. It's poetic. It gives like some imagery. It tells a story of the fall and all of that. It's a good read. I think it's an amazing read. The problem is that you have a lot of people that will take poetry that's not firmly scripture historically, because it was written like what, maybe 200 years ago, when the rest of the Bible's like thousands of years old. So, and that's the thing, we take a lot of things that mean a lot to us, because when we read it, it gives us an idea, it gives us a visualization, and then we put that alongside something like the Bible that we think that we hold true to our hearts, but then we're using the imagery of poetry on top of that, and it kind of like, you know, hopefully I'm explaining this properly, but so that's like with my thing is I do a lot of digging, right? I try to kind of see where a lot of these things come from, because I know that I could be wrong. I don't think that everything I think is 100% right. If I'm proven wrong, that's great, because it furthers me to making understandings of all these things. So this is really why it's like searching for the commonality is important, because that's another thing I've discovered along this way. It's like you look back at early Christianity. This is before the Catholic Church was established, you know, with the conversion of the Romans. Early Christianity was very, very similar to Eastern religions like Taoism and Buddhism. There was a lot of overlapping ideas and stuff. And so when the Catholic Church was established, like Miss Diaz always mentioned, there were certain books that they completely got rid of. Things that, you know, were geared towards like ideas of enlightenment, things that, you know, were heavily spiritual. Those things were taken away, and they were replaced and structured with things that kind of kept people in line, because that the early Catholic Church, and this went on for hundreds of years, was all about subjugation. When you have the faith of Christianity saying, oh, it's all about your inner light, it's about, you know, a personal relationship with God, be a good person, be nice to everybody else, do unto others, all that stuff, that goes away, because now you have the Catholic Church giving you a long-winded list of prerequisites that you have to meet, and you have to, there's the barrier. But, you know, in order to come to God, you got to go through the establishment. And that's exactly the same thing when you look at back at the time in like when the time when Christ was around, his teachings were very, very critical of the religious establishment. Very, very critical. And then what do we see with the Catholic Church? They end up doing the exact same thing that the Jewish church did. You know, the synagogues, they basically put a barrier, you know, between the people and the divine. And that's kind of goes against, and that then when you have people start like understanding like these revelations and making sense of it for themselves, that's when you start having the denominations split. So then you had the Lutherans, right? And then you go even further down the line, and then you have kings of entire nations that no longer want to be under the thumb of the rule of the Catholic Church. So they split off and make their own denominations. And that's where we get the King James Bible from and stuff. So you asked a question. Once again, I just went off on a tirade, but hopefully I answered in there somewhere.
No,
I catch
good.
myself before I get too carried away.
No, you're good. You did just fine. You did just fine. So don't trip. You did just fine. All right, Ms. D, welcome back.
Well, thank you.
I know I asked you to look up was it First Thessalonians 4:17?
Yep.
Or is it 4?
Chapter 4, verses 17. The living believers will be caught up together with the resurrected dead in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air and remain with him forever. That's just basically a overview, not necessarily verbatim, depending on what version you're reading. So,
okay.
But again, when you look at scripture too, every book of scripture, every single one, has its beginning, middle, and end. Okay.
Yes.
So do we take that as an end? Do we take it as the end of everything? I mean, how many times does it state in scripture, you know, no one should add on to this book and, you know, this, that, and the next. But do we even know, as, you know, as we're reading these books, that they're even in chronological order? You know, we're going based on the Vatican and what they've allowed. And regardless, no matter what denomination you are, outside of, I mean, you've got scripture that's older than, you do have things like the Torah and all that that's older than, but the Vatican controls the narrative on how Christianity reads scripture and in what order.
When I used to read the Bible, right, and I I'm going through the chapters and I'm going through the verses and everything. A lot of it sometimes, because like you said, who knows if it's in chronological order. Some of the stories skip. Sometimes you read one book, it goes back to, it references something else that happened earlier, and then you read a book that happened. You read a book from earlier that references something later on in the Bible. You're like, wait, what? And then you go back and say, oh wait. So that's how sometimes you make the connections with some of these different verses, different, whatever. It used to read to be like Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction for the longest. That movie confused the absolute black off me. That's just how confusing it was. I didn't know if I was black
Anything
anymore.
Quentin Tarantino confuses me.
I didn't know what I was. I just thought I was just here. Because when I first watched that, I was like, what? I absolutely hated the movie. I absolutely hated the movie when I first watched it. I had to watch the movie again, and I'm going to say it. I had to watch the movie again, and I was extremely high the next time I watched it. Everything made sense. Everything made sense. I know I said it. Listen, I said it. You know what I'm saying?
But it's not just that one. I mean, look at Kill Bill, look at Sin City, all of those movies. They're designed to mess with you like that.
Yes, I 100% agree. So I had no idea, you know what I'm saying. But that's how sometimes it felt. At times it felt, depending on and I think for me, and I'm speaking for me. I'm not speaking for anybody else. For me, a lot of times it was a hard read. Sometimes it was an easy read. But what I noticed when it was a hard read, it was depending on where I was in my walk, in my faith. When it was an easy read, I noticed my walk and my faith was stronger. You know what I'm saying? So I think sometimes it just depends on your mindset and your headspace, where you are mentally, where you are spiritually, emotionally, and even physically. Sometimes it just depends on where you're at. Depends on what you're really getting out of it and what you're struggling with it, what's becoming easy. I would definitely want to say this. I definitely appreciate everybody in the comments. Etsy, Erica, Jason up in the comments. Y'all doing your thing, man. I appreciate that. Y'all really getting it in there. So this is what I like. This is the kind of stuff I like when it comes to this. So definitely whenever we have these conversations, if you do me a favor, share this out, get more people in here so we can have more conversations, get even more people in here. That's what I like to hear. Now we're going to shift gears. Okay. We're going to shift gears. So I hope you guys are ready for this. All right. Now let's make it really real. Okay. When I say make it really real, let's make it real in the sense that something that we know that if this happens, we know, for lack of better words, all hell is breaking loose. All right. We know 100% all hell is breaking loose. Itchy says, what does Itchy say here? And my opinion might be slightly in my book. Different? Is that what you meant to say? Might be slightly in my book. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with that. And if that's it, I'm with you. Jason also says, where does it say that? Okay, Jason says Revelation 20 says verse 12, and I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened. One was the book of life. Yeah. I like it. Itchy says a little bit. Yeah, okay, gotcha. It's gotcha. So let's shift gears. All right, let's shift gears here. All right. Because all that stuff that we're talking about, 100% I agree with. Okay, I 100% agree with. There's a lot, that we know we don't know. There's a lot more we don't know because we're going to buy, something that was translated by someone who we don't really know if they were really translating it for our benefit or just theirs. I hate saying that, but it is what it is. Who controls the books? Anyways, we're gonna make this real, okay? Let's say the Bible's prophecies are playing out, right? Let's say the Bible's prophecies are playing out, all right? Boom. We're gonna all agree to that, all right? Or let's say it's just a good old fashioned collapse, an EMP, a cyber attack, virus. You take your pick. So the question now is, are you ready? Dun 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 dun. How does it start? Does it start with an explosion? It starts with a grid, a slow, painful, grinding halt. How do you think it really starts? Because we can go literally for the Bible, you know what I'm saying, fire and brimstone, you know what I'm saying, all that stuff. But sometimes when I think about it, now that I'm really thinking about a lot of stuff, and if I'm really thinking about a lot of stuff, sometimes the literal thing for us can be completely different than what we might read in the Bible. Because for some people, if the grid shuts down, they have no internet, they have no way to really communicate, lights are gone, everything. If the grid shuts down, to them, that feels like 100% hell. Like the fire and brimstone has already started, especially if you're talking about if it coming during one of these heat waves and you have no way to power your AC. You know what I'm saying? You can't get any gas. You know what I'm saying? Put in generators or drive your car around, whatever you got to do. Everything is shut down. Because understand some people, if the grid goes down, you're not really gonna be able to go pump no gas. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna be able to go get gas just willy-nilly. So that's a big thing. So when you think about that in that sense, now we talked about the whole thing with the biblical sense. Now we say all the prophecies are playing out, but they're playing out in today's environment, today's society, and everything that we're connected with. Notice that everything we're trying to do with the flock cameras, with everything else they're trying to do, with the one internet, with everything they're trying to do. If we're so connected and all that gets shut down, like I said, whether it's an EMP, a cyber attack, or some type of virus, you take your pick, whatever it could be that you've seen in all these movies, how does it start? Where do you think it could start? Okay, Miss D, I'll go with you first.
So, I mean, how does it start? I mean, you shut down an infrastructure such as the internet. So many people rely on it. I mean, don't get me wrong. It has become such a convenience that it's one of the first things that I do when I wake up.
Yep.
It basically rules our lives as far as we set calendars by it. We gather information. We network through it. Now, with that being said, I am very grateful to be of the baby Gen Xers because I literally missed the cutoff by 2 weeks. Just saying. So I do not consider myself a millennial. But growing up before the internet existed taught me so much. And not only did I grow up before the internet existed, I grew up poor as hell. Okay. There were times when we didn't know what we were going to eat. And my grandmother would whip up a batch of biscuits and we'd have, a biscuit bar and in the kitchen with jelly and applesauce and homemade, this, that, and the next, because that's all we had to eat. I still love those kind of meals, but what was a struggle meal at that point, that was gourmet for me. So I really think it's, if that got shut down for whatever reason, some between the millennials and up would be losing their minds. They do not know how to live their lives without being able to Google something, and these traditions that were passed down for so long, just like languages, just like cursive, it just, when you don't use it, it gets lost. And that's my thing. It's we cannot lose these traditions. If you know a skill, something, you need to start banding together with people. Like my kids know how to read cursive, not well, but they know how to read cursive. Just little stuff like that. I I write down recipes as much as I can because I don't measure a damn thing. But that's a New England thing. But I grew up, like I said, in a hunting family. I know how to make medicine from the earth. I know little tidbits to survive that kind of event, but not everybody does. And at that point, well, hell, do I need to create a bunker to keep myself safe? You know?
I listen. I'm telling you,
Not trying to
that's
distract. I'm just trying to distract this one.
Mhm.
No, you're good. You're good. Hey, listen, I'm with you on that, D. Hey, I'm with you. Mace, same thing over to you, brother.
Okay, you guys have known my thing before. So I'm a writer. All right, my bread and butter of the genre that I write for is dystopian and post-apocalyptic. So this whole end of the world stuff I love. And then the conspiratorial tinfoil hat stuff. We've done multiple episodes on this before of different ideas and whatever. So the groundwork that I come from, as far as my faith is concerned, is I believe that all of these things already came to pass with the fall of the Second Temple, 70 AD. Okay, we have entire episodes going into that. Doesn't matter, right? So more tinfoil hat stuff to the end of the world when you talk about this whole like, oh, the biblical world's ending or whatever. So I really into the whole government conspiracy stuff, right? The whole aliens, UFO, all of that jazz, right? Because we've seen even lately a bunch of scientists are going missing or dying, mysterious deaths. And they all share one thing in common. They all do research on exotic energy. Okay. And it's postulated that these energy sources are what can disturb magnetic fields for levitation, right? UFOs. So the idea is if we have the technology to be able to make UFOs, if that technology is here, then perhaps the stories of UFOs, flying saucers, etc., are all lies, right? Because if we can prove that we have the ability to make this technology, then what we are seeing is not from another world, but is from here. Okay, so where does this all go? This goes up to the whole Project Bluebeam stuff. So, and this is why I really wanted to be around for the episode about the Denver airport, because there is a mural in the Denver airport that suspiciously, when you look at it, you can read the things that are in the book of Revelation, and it's almost like, the whole one world government, the one world religion, one world, all of that, right? And if we kind of look at where we're going now, it's almost as if the world is slowly inching towards that point, right? So my state of mind is if I see the world starting to go the whole biblical direction as far as the end is concerned, I mean, if anything, it's like, oh, well, yeah, they want to emulate the end. They want to, you get a whole bunch of people believing in a particular system, right? It's like, oh, the savior is coming. The savior is coming. So everyone is looking towards a future that already happened, right? So when the end does come, it's controlled, it's designed, right? They use holographic technology to do the whole blue beam stuff in the sky, make it look like it's an alien invasion, and make it, and then the world is in a state of chaos. And then you assemble a one world government from the ashes of the ruins that the elite people took control of. And they placed upon us. I mean, I've said all this ad nauseum before. It's the rich and powerful are weaponizing our own belief systems against us, and they're laughing at us while doing it. But yeah, that's like the long story short. I'm not gonna go into a tirade.
No, you're good. I love it. I love where we're going with this. Okay, I agree with all that. I'm sorry, y'all. My allergies are kicking my tail today. Like I said, loving the comments, everything. Y'all keep it going, keep it coming. So I'm gonna break this down in 3 phases. All right, I'm gonna break this down in 3 phases. All right, so phase 1. All right, we're talking about this grid, all this stuff, MVP, whatever, blah blah blah. Here's what it is. It doesn't start with an explosion. It starts with a grid, a grind, a slow, painful grinding halt. Okay, so phase one, the grid dies. Okay, think about this: you wake up and your phone is dead. Not dead like I forgot to charge it. Dead like no juice coming from the wall. Your alarm doesn't go off. You look out the window and there's no lights in the neighborhood, no street lights, no hum of traffic in the distance. And you check your phone because you're human. You check and the screen is black. No bars, no Wi-Fi, nothing. Okay? You know what happens next. People don't panic immediately. They just get confused. Must be a transformer. Probably back in an hour. They go to work because they don't know what else to do, but the doors are locked. The computers don't work. No one knows anything. Okay. Phase two. The stores run. The store runs. Okay. By lunchtime, that first wave of panic hits. It's not the end times looters from Mad Max. It's Karen from accounting buying all the bottled water because she has a bad feeling. I'm sorry for anybody care. I don't know if Karen's watching. Not you, Karen. Not our Karen. The other Karens, the ones you see on the internet. Um, we have a Karen that is part of the family, and yeah, but not that Karen. Not that Karen. Okay, you're a good Karen. You're a good Karen. But anyways, and anyone and everyone else, oh, okay, and everyone else sees her, and that's when the dominoes start to fall. We've seen it. Every time there's a hurricane warning, the shelves go empty. Now imagine, but there's no storm coming, nothing to track, no end date. The power just isn't coming back. Einstein, yeah, that Einstein famously said, I know not what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War V will be fought with sticks and stones. I'm gonna put that in the comments. The direct quote from that. Okay. I know you guys have probably heard that one before. I never really thought much about that until we started talking about this. So yeah, I'm gonna put that in the comments. You can click on that and you can go to that direct quote. Now, some people say he was being poetic. And May said something about poetry and everything like that when it came to the Bible and everything like that. So that's kind of poetic. Some people say he was dead serious. You know who doesn't care about Einstein's quotes? The guy who hasn't eaten in 3 days and sees your house has a generator humming. This is where it gets real. Around day 4, the drilling wears off. There's no rescue coming. The government, they're scrambling too. The military, they're trying to hold back things together. They're trying to hold things together, sorry. But they've got their own families to worry about. See, that's what people don't understand. I take a pause there because if people understand. They think, oh, well, something happens, the government's going to save us. But you fail to remember, they have families. And who do you think they're going to take care of first? Who do you think the military, the government, and law enforcement, who do you think they're going to take care of first before ensuring that anybody else is taken care of? That's just human nature. Let's just be honest, okay? Now, I think everybody here at least has seen I Am Legend, right? Okay, I'm assuming that I'm not going to assume, but hopefully everybody in the comments or everybody watching has seen I Am Legend as well. Let me know if you have or have not. Ms. D, keep an eye on the comments for me as well if you can. I don't know if you have. Okay, just keep an eye on that for me. Okay. You ever seen I Am Legend? Will Smith's character, Robert Neville, he has a routine. He exercises, he hunts, he talks to mannequins. Why? Because routine keeps the madness at bay. He knows what happens when you lose the structure of your day. You lose your mind. I'm also going to put that in the comments. So far, I'm going to pause there. to talk to my co-host. So far, what are your thoughts on that? And how are you tracking so far, Miss D?
So, I mean, I agree with that. I mean, without that kind of routine, you do lose your mind. I mean, look at some of the psychological subjects, we'll say, because it's not really experimentation, it's more observation that they used with prisoners who have been sent to solitary confinement for undetermined amounts of time. And you have the ones that have kept up with a routine. They go to sleep, they wake up, they brush their teeth, they do their exercise, they get their food. They kept a routine, and it kept them mentally sane. The ones that just kind of, oh well, I'll just sleep through it, and then start losing that routine, and day becomes night, night becomes day. They can't decipher um you know any sort of time frame, and when you're stuck with the thoughts of your own brain, with nobody to bounce anything off of, you start to literally go insane. um Human beings are social beings. Even your um your loner types, your introverts, still have some social interactions. And you know it's and if they people that they've found that have lived off grid for years, they have routines,
Mhm.
because our bodies have a circadian rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
We're meant to have a certain routine because that's just our genetic makeup. And they've even said people who have circadian rhythm disruptions tend to be a little more out there. Hi, that's me. I'm the problem. you know, my circadian rhythm is completely screwed up, but that a lot of that is of my own doing, and the work schedule that I keep.
Right.
But I will never sit there and tell you that I'm mentally all there, because I know that would be a lie.
I know.
you know.
I don't even try to. I don't even try to tell that lie. And then for some clarification, that last part when I read about I Am Legend and talking about that, that was
Mhm.
phase 3, the new normal. So I
Mhm.
forgot to put that in there. That's part of phase 3. So you have
Mhm.
your 3 phases. First one being um, the grid dies. Phase 2, the store runs, and then phase 3, the new normal.
Mhm.
Um, Mace, do you have any comments on that before I finish reading the phase 3
Oh,
part?
oh yeah. So wait, no, I'm following along. This is good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll finish up this part of phase 3. Okay. So now in that movie, Neville's only companion is his dog, Sam. And when Sam dies, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, he almost loses it completely. That's the real danger of the end. It's not the elements. It's not the hungry mob. It's the loneliness. It's the silence. Now, I will definitely speak on that part of it. Um, I'll speak to one thing in my military career, and I don't really talk for most people. I don't really talk about aspects of my military career very much. I will say that I was in, I was able to be a sniper. Did a lot of work. There was a time where I had to go out on a mission, and it was only supposed to be about 3-4 hour mission. All right, with some events and things happen, it turned into a lot longer. We'll just say it turned into a lot longer, more than 2 days. But I was out there this sector by myself. I had zero radio contact. We lost radio contact. I had to wait for, and the last radio transmission was, "Hey, we'll have your IR flashing, blah, blah, blah. They gave me a set of instructions that I would know when it was time for me to come back. So I'm out there by myself. I have nothing. I have nothing to entertain me. I don't like. It's not like I have like a radio out there where I can listen to ESPN, or the local news, which I wouldn't have been able to understand anyways because it would have been in Arabic. I didn't have anything, and you don't understand. And I was, for the time I was out there, I've been here in the States and I've been, camping or I've been going out hiking somewhere, and I've been gone for the amount of time that I was gone, or I was out for this, and I had no issues. Why? Because I knew where I could go to get back. And of course, I have my cell phone, if I need to get a hold of anybody, but to be out there and have nothing, no way to contact, have nobody to talk to, just for the time I was out there, almost drove me crazy. And I'm not a very social person. I'm very social when it comes to my family and my friends. If I don't know you, I'm not overly social. I'm just not. I observe people more because I kind of try to read people as far as, what kind of conversations I can really have with them, what conversations I don't want to have with them, what conversations even I do have with them is probably just not going to be a conversation worth having. So I kind of do that before I really fully engage with somebody, because I don't like to waste my time, and I don't want anybody wasting my time. You know what I'm saying? And then, if it's not something interesting, I don't want to waste their time either. So I kind of try to gauge that. It doesn't take me long to do it, but I still like to do it. I like to, and this is going to sound weird, I like to people watch, because before I engage a conversation or engage with somebody, I like to kind of see, how they're engaging with somebody else. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, I might be around the conversation, but I'm not in the conversation. So that's just me. That's just how I am. I think I picked up a lot of that. I was kind of like that before, but I picked up a lot of it, and it kind of some of how I was before kind of developed and morphed into something else as I got into the military and even afterwards. So that's kind of how I am. But yeah, that I get it, it almost drove me crazy. So this part of especially the new normal really resonates with me more so than anything, because of the fact that, like we said, that structure, if you do not have any structure and everything else in your world is gone, you will go, it won't take you long before you start getting that mad itch. You know what I'm saying? Before it really starts to hit you. What did Erica say over here in the comments? She said, I am legend. Throughout the movie, the butterfly becomes a reoccurring symbol. Christians sometimes use the butterfly as a symbol of transformation / resurrection because of its metamorphosis. That's very good. Very good. Very, very, very good. She said, make things that make you go, yeah, I remember that part. I remember that skit. Yeah. I know exactly how you. It is. I think it is in the blood. Excuse me. Good God, told you allergies.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all. Because allergies are kicking my butt. Okay, let's take another quick commercial break. And when we come back, before we do that, let me go ahead and put this poll question back up. Oh no. Well, yeah. Let me put this poll question back up. No, let's skip that one. I'll go back to that one here in a second. But let's start the new poll question. That's the one I need to put up. Okay. So, well, maybe. Would you? Oh, Lord Jesus. Okay, I got to stop that one first. That's what it is. Okay, there you go. I had to stop that one first. Sorry. So here is your poll question for this segment. All right. We go to the full poll question, because if not, I'm gonna state it wrong, and then I'm gonna sound like a complete idiot. Okay. The grid dies at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. What's your first move? Do you want fill everything? We're talking water jugs, bathtub, every container you own. 2, stock and load. Hit the store before everyone else, then barricade. Or 3, wait and see. Give it 24 hours before panicking. So which one are you doing? are you going to be doing? So if the grid dies, at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday, let's say it died yesterday at 6 p.m. What's your first move? At one, fill everything. We're talking water jugs, bathtub, every container you own. Stock and load. Option two, you're going to stock and load, hit the store before everyone else, then barricade. Or option three, are you going to wait and see, give it 24 hours before panicking? Those are your options. Okay. Now, when we get back, I will hopefully not have cut my nose off because this is driving me crazy. When we get back, we'll hit that comment. We'll hit that poll question again. But then we're going to jump into our next segment. So we'll be right back after these messages from your Tri-State 66ers. See y'all in a few. Oh, maybe.
Hello, I'm Tim Simpson, owner and head coach of the Tri-State 66ers based out of Pittsburgh and Parsons, Kansas. The Tri-State 66ers aim to unite our community through high-energy, family-friendly sports entertainment. But we are not just a basketball team. We're a platform developing talent, fostering civic pride, and creating lifelong memories for fans of all ages while strengthening the region's love for the game of basketball. We're looking to partner with and promote local businesses to build a strong community connection. So if you are a local business and would like to join the 66er Nation as a sponsor, contact us by email at tristate66ers.basketball@gmail.com or call us at 620-454-6587. Join us as we look to support local businesses and community organizations through partnerships and promotion.
What is up, everybody? How you doing? It's your boy. It's the Birdman. I got Mace Valor. I got Miss D with me. You guys already know it's the Birdman Show. You always want to do, so won't you go ahead and do it with us? Boo! Boo! That's right, Miss D.
Caw.
Probably with the phone. Oh God, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. I gotta love it. Gotta love it. Anyways, we're here. We are here. We're definitely here. I don't know. Yeah, that's just gonna leave it at that. But we're here. We're talking about, can you survive the end of the world? It's the end of the world. Let me know it. So yeah, we've been talking about this. We've been talking about yeah, right. We've been talking about the Bible. We've been talking about the grid shutting down, all kinds of stuff. We're gonna get some more things here in a few, but I definitely want to hear it here in a second. I don't know what just happened. Did you guys' screen go funky? Okay, so it was whatever was going on in the studio. I don't know. Okay, that's the second time it's done that. So maybe the grid's going down. Anyways, we're gonna hit some of these comments in there. I know we talked about the poll question, which I'll put back up right now. Right there. Okay. And like I said, the poll question for this segment was the grid dies at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. What's your first move? Do you fill everything? Water jugs, bathtub, every container you own. 2, do you stock and lock, hit the stores before anyone else, and then barricade? Or 3, wait and see, give it 24 hours before panicking. That is your poll question for that. Let's see. Erica says, yeah, I see that. Erica says she's stock and load. She's stock and loading. Yeah. And then I think she said also she's going to load her gun. I got you. Mine's already loaded, so I don't even know why loading. Mine's already loaded. All of mine are loaded already. But yeah,
does it no good if it ain't?
Yeah, exactly, right. So yeah, mine stayed loaded. What did Itchy say? I'm doing. We're too broke for stocking stuff. I guess I have to wait. Hey sis, listen, I felt that to my core. I felt that comment right there to my core. I feel you on that, sis. I feel you on that. Like this, the way stuff is going right now, the way prices is. That's another topic. Another topic. We're not going there. We're just not doing it. Okay, so thus far, how are you guys feeling about tonight's episode? Miss D, let's start with you.
So, I mean, I'm digging the episode, um, because it does bring up a lot of questions, because there are so many different versions of the end of the world. And, you know, but now that we're kind of gearing it away from more of the theological and, what happens if, we have this big disaster, whether it's man-made, natural, viral, whatever. How do you survive that? Um, and just to answer the poll question for me, um, we're already stocked and locked. We've already got plenty of survival needs around us. I'm waiting it out, but I still ain't panicking. My first instinct would be to check on my husband because he's dropping stuff. Um, my first instinct would be to check on the more vulnerable people in my life, my clients, for instance, who, because I mean, I work in healthcare and I work in people's homes, so they're already in a vulnerable state, and I need to make sure that they are safe.
Okay, I like that. Mace.
That's right. Yeah, doing great. I guess for me, the first thing I would do is fill stuff up. Real quick though, I just want to preface: if you live in a house, apartment, whatever, for the well, maybe not an apartment, but for most people, if you have a water tank, there's 40 to 50 gallons of water right there. So it's something that not a lot of people like really go to and think, but man, there you go. And even if you can't fill up, you at least have an emergency supply right there. So don't go forward and drink the toilet water. Save that for the end. But the interesting thing about this, because I guess we have been leaning towards the more like religious perspective of it. There's a story by Isaac Asimov called Nightfall that I think really kind of encapsulates like this particular end of the world discussion with like the idea of religious background. So the story goes like this. There's a planet somewhere out there in the universe that never once experiences nighttime. There's 6 suns that always provide light. So the people on this planet, they don't have any concept of nighttime, no concept of darkness. There's some interesting facts about their planet is that every 2,000 years, a civilization will rise and then it will completely fall due to fire. And historians, archaeologists, whatever, they're having a hard time like trying to make sense of this. Like they go through the records and there's 6 different civilizations that have come before us, and around the time that the civilization gets to our level, an event happens and the civilization falls. And so the scientists are trying to kind of figure it out. So during this point in history, they've discovered like ideas of relativity and all this stuff. And they start like becoming very, very scientifically inclined. But because they never have a concept of nighttime, they never have to invent anything like light bulbs. And there's this religious group that worship these things called stars, right? And they pass down this book over the course of many, many, many generations. And so basically it's a short story. You could read it in one sitting. But basically what happens is these scientists are going to, like, they built an observatory. They're going to observe everything. They've built a bunker. They have torches down in the bunker and supplies. So if something bad does happen, there at least will be survivors, and they'll use their scientific stuff to pass on, their findings of the event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it just so happens that the stars kind of move in a way to where there's only one star in the sky, and then it gets eclipsed. So the only source of light for the entire planet becomes eclipsed, and the entire planet is put into a state of darkness for 12 hours. Everyone absolutely loses their minds because for their entire lives, they have no idea or concept of nighttime. So now it's dark, and there's these spots in the sky, and everyone starts freaking out, and they need light, so they start to burn everything, because burning fire makes light, right? They end up burning their entire civilization to the ground because they're terrified of darkness. And the religious people passing down this book were trying, and it's not scientific language, it's mystical language, because it's written down by the survivors of the previous event, right? So they're trying to get whatever information they can to the next generation the best that they can. And the scientific community scoffs at it. And then the religious community scoffs at the scientific. But it's like they're both so close. If they would just stop their infighting and kind of like come together on it, because the religious group was saying, hey, every 2,000 years there's an event that happens, and there's these stars in the sky, and our interpretation is that the stars steal the souls out of men, and that's what makes everyone go crazy and destroys the world. The scientists, they're using their scientific method to observe and stuff, and they understand like, hey, we can project that there's going to be an event coming up. And so it was an interesting read how like the scientific community can observe the world around them to a point where it can foretell this event is coming, but unless they observe the event and are able to like give the information back down to the next one, but then the religious community is really upset that the scientific community has taken all the mystical elements out of it. And so there's some infighting in it, but yeah, it's a good read, but it's a good perception into like what I've been saying like so often is that we ultimately are telling very similar stories, but we're getting like lost in the minutia of the specifics.
I like that. Now, this is what I like. This is what I love about this. Okay, we do a lot of things, but it seems like every time we discuss something, it always seems to, for whatever reason, it seems to segue into the next thing. So the next segment we're going to be talking about is this: the media we copied, movies, books, and the apocalypse. Okay, you might say, Birdman, what the heck are you talking about, and what the heck does that mean? Well, I'm going to tell you. All right. Here's where I'm going with this. Okay. Here's the thing about the apocalypse. We've been preparing for it through fiction for 100 years. We just didn't know we were practicing. Science fiction, the good stuff, not the space laser stuff, which I still love it. Star Wars and all that stuff. But anyways, not the laser stuff. Has been planning these end of the world scenarios for as long as we've internalized them. Michael I cannot pronounce that name. I'm just gonna put the article in. You look it up your freaking self. I'm just gonna put the article in. Oh, it's not pulling up. Why is it not pulling up? Are you laughing at me, Miss D?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be laughing at me.
Open for dinner.
Don't be laughing at me. I can't pronounce his name. I think he's French. I'm assuming he's French. God bless it. This stupid thing cut out on me again. I'll put it in the chat. But this guy here, you can actually, I don't know if it's a book or whatever it is. But anyways, he's a professor over at Penn State. Wrote a whole book about this called The Ex-Human, science fiction and the fate of our species. And here's his argument. These stories are just entertainment. They're practice, a way for us to imagine our own extinction and figure out how we feel about it. Interesting. Let's look at some of the heavy hitters now. Okay. Now, how many of you heard of the film 2013 Snowpiercer? Okay, you haven't heard about that one, Miss D? There's actually a TV series on it.
I saw the show, the TV
Yeah,
show. I saw the first season. I couldn't get
yeah,
into it after that.
It's
yeah,
based on a French graphic novel.
yeah.
Okay.
So is it Bong Joon Ho?
Yeah, that was the South Korean director that made the movie variation of it.
Okay, so Bong Joon Ho. Listen, Japanese, Chinese people, I love the way y'all be doing your names, man. Y'all just be putting hoes and everything. But I love it. I love it. Anyways, he did a movie, like Mace just said. World freezes over because some rich idiots tried to fix climate change and made it worse. Sounds about right. The only survivors are on a train that circles the globe forever. The rich in the front, the poor in the back, and a rebellion that happens because eventually people decide they'd rather die fighting than live kneeling. I'm gonna put that also in the chat. I've seen the series. The television series is actually pretty good. I actually have not seen the movie. Now, wasn't there a book? It was based off a book, right? It's
Yes,
no
it's based
comment.
on a French graphic novel.
That's what you said. Okay. So, yeah. So you have that one, right? Now, here's what Snowpiercer gets right. The end of the world doesn't end. Um, wait. Oh, this got cut off. I'm sorry. So I don't know. It says something else. I don't know. It got cut off. But anyways, it freezes in. It freezes it in place. The people who had money before have power after. The people who had nothing, well, they're still eating protein bars made of bugs. So pretty much that's pretty much what it gets right on that. Okay. Now, have you ever heard of Moon of the Crusted Snow? It's a 2018 novel. I have not either. So we're gonna learn about it together. I cannot pronounce this dude's name. His last name's Rice. His last name's Rice. That's about all I can get. That's all you're gonna get from me. I'll put the link for it in the comment section, of course, and you can determine it for yourself. But Rice Aroni here wrote a novel, and it was from a community in Canada. Already living off the grid, already used to being cut off, finds itself suddenly more prepared than anyone else, but that preparedness makes them a target. Ooh. So yeah, I put that in the comment. It's called Moon of the Crested Snow. It was released in 2018. This book hits hard because it shows you being ready doesn't mean you're safe. It just means you're a target for people who didn't prepare. That makes a lot of sense. Erica put another one in the comments. Blessed Hope. Led presents a different interpretation of and is useful for comparing views. I like that. Okay, make sure you guys check that out. All right, now I got two more for you. The Time of the Great Freeze. Now, this is a novel that was written back in 1964. Right, that was way before I was born. Robert Silverberg, old school sci-fi. Earth freezes over because cosmic dust blocks the sun. People build underground cities. I wonder if that sounds so familiar. People build underground cities, and then after centuries, they forgot that the surface even exists. Someone put that in the comment as Luella. There's a lot of these books and stuff that I didn't even know existed that I'm finding out through this thing. But I think it's just kind of cool. The fact that there
And
is
the pronunciation of the name is Wabishig.
yeah, I didn't
Wabishig
want to
Rice. He's Canadian First Nations. I was looking it up because I was curious. Why be shade?
Why should be what? Why should we be what? I thought you were saying, oh, why we should be. Okay. No. This one is called the Ethernaut. Ethernaut, I think it's what it is. Yeah. Okay. I think it's on Netflix. I did not know that. But I'm gonna put that in the chat as well for you to check out. Click on check out. But this one, this is a new one. This one came out in 2025. It's a TV series, Spanish language. That's probably why I didn't hear of it. Starts in Buenos Aires with a group of friends playing cards. Then the snow starts falling in the middle of summer. Anyone who goes outside to investigate drops dead. It's a suddenness that gets you. One minute you're laughing with your friends, the next minute the world is a snow globe of death. Yeah. Now, what do they all have in common? They're not about zombies. They're about people. They're about what you do to each other when the rules go away. And if you read the Bible alongside them, you start to see a pattern. The end times are a mirror. They show you who you really are. That was a quote that I'm going to put also in. Nope, I'm not going to put comments because it's not pulling up. Well, God bless America. Anyways. Okay, so we're gonna kind of wrap this up, but I gotta hit this segment. Okay, I gotta hit this part of the segment. All right, because I need to hear from you guys. All right, let's get practical for a second, because it's easy to sit here and talk about prophets and movies, but when the grid goes down, you need to know what actually matters. I like to call this Birdman rule of 3. Okay, you can survive. You can survive 3 minutes without air. 3 hours without shelter if it's extreme, hot, or cold. Okay. 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Okay. These are not just me saying these are actually facts. Okay. So that's right. All right. If you're sitting in a room right now thinking, I need to stockpile ammo, you're missing the point. You need water. You need shelter. You need to not freeze or fry. All right. So the Birdman's rule of 3, 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without shelter if it's extreme hot or cold, 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food. Okay. Now let's do a little thought exercise here. Okay. Let's call this the survive priority poker. You guys ready? Survive priority poker. Okay. I'll give you 3 items. You rank them. Okay. Here's your first item, a crank radio. And then we played this once before. Crank radio, a 5-gallon jug of water, a full tang knife. Which one do you grab first? Miss D.
For me, I grab the knife.
Okay. You said a knife. Mace, which one do you grab?
I think we did this before. I'm just grabbing the water.
You said the water. Okay. All right. If you want to answer this question in the comments, go ahead. Like I said, this is a survival priority poker. You get 3 items. First item is a crank radio. Second item is a 5-gallon jug of water, and the third item is a full tang knife. Okay. If you said the radio, you're dead. You don't need to hear a major panic. All right. You need to not die of thirst. Water is king. Knife is queen. Radio, that's a jester or joker who tells you it's just going to rain tomorrow while you're already drowning in sweat. So yeah, Mace, you got the king. Miss D, you got the queen. I know where you're going with that.
Before, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and we have played this before. And I know where you're going with that. And I think it depends on the person and your survival skill.
not just that, I think it depends on your surroundings,
Yes, true. That also
what
true.
resources you have available to you. I live in New England. I'm surrounded by trees. I'm in one of the most forested areas of the country. Water for me is everywhere. So for me,
Yeah.
having a tool would be more important than necessarily filling a jug of water because I can get it just about anywhere.
Yeah. But it also really depends on what is actually the cause of this world of what's going on. So if it's one of those things where it's starting to contaminate the water, the longer you wait to get water, the less chance you have to actually obtain it.
Mm-hmm.
So even in that scenario, I agree with you, but I might say, you know what, maybe I should go ahead and get at least some water so I have something in reserve,
Mm-hmm.
just in case. You know,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's the first thing I will grab. I don't know, but like I said, it really just depends on the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
It just really depends. If it's a regular scenario, I would agree with you, Ms. D. You know, so I want to have something that, but of course, I always carry a knife anyways. You know, as soon as I get up, I have my sidearm on me. I got an extra magazine. I got a knife. I got a flashlight. You know, and I've got either some type. I don't even really. I carry a lighter and I do carry matches, but my lighter that I carry, I carry one that it's like a USB chargeable, rechargeable one. So that's my ready one, because it
Mm-hmm.
holds a. I want to say it's a 14-day charge on it. So every 14 day, no, I'm sorry, it's a 21-day charge. So it holds a 21-day charge on it. So I charge it. Usually I go ahead and just throw it on the charger around day 15, day 16. Just go on the charger, make sure it charges up. Once it charges up, I put it back in my survival bag. That way I have something that I know it's going to start right away.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have other lighters, you know, I have some, you know, matches that start, you know, they're wet, you know, they start in the wet, all that good stuff. So yeah, there you go. Now, here's the here's the social part. Let's say you prepare, you have water, you have water, food, shelter. Day 3. Okay, this is day 3. There's a knock on your door. Like I said, we've played this before. We've played this kind of version before. I'm gonna see where see if you guys' heads are still in the right space. And actually, you guys actually answered you answered the question the exact same the first time we played this. So let's see if you're getting even better. All right. So it's day 3. There's a knock on the door. You're your neighbor. The guy always waves. His kid, and he has his kid with him. They haven't eaten in 2 days. They're scared. You have a case of canned chili. Chili. Question: do you open the door? Ms. D?
Nope.
Okay. Okay. And Erica says knife. For the last question. Awesome. Mace, what do you do? Oh, sorry.
I have to go. I'm so
Okay.
sorry. I was hoping to like make it towards the end, but he's getting a little antsy. So
Not a problem, bro. I understand.
I will
It's all
see
good.
y'all again when we do this again soon. Au revoir.
No problem. All right. See you later, bro. Okay, Ms. D, you say no. All right.
Nope.
In the comments. Once again, here's the scenario. Um, um, okay, let's say you're prepared, you have water, food, shelter, day 3. There's a knock on your door, your neighbor, nice guy, always waves, has his kid with him. They haven't eaten in 2 days, they're scared, and you have a case of chili. Question is, do you open the door? Miss D says no. We'll see if anybody else says in the comments. Miss D says no. Here's what the answer is. Now this is my and Itchy says it depends on if I can if I get along with my neighbor. I feel that. I do. I feel that. I really do. I do feel that. Here's my take on it. Okay, so I open it, but I don't hand over the chili. I hand him a job. You watch the stairwell. You know, if I have stairs or whatever. From 10 to 2 a.m. So you watch the perimeter from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. I'll give you 2 cans. Why? Because alone wolves die first. Okay, lone wolves die first. The pack survives, but the pack needs rules. No rules. That's how you get a cult, or worse, an HOA with weapons. I'm gonna put this this part of this in the comments. This part actually came from a show on iHeartRadio. And the show is actually called Can You Survive? It's the Nerd Gots. Wonderful show. If you get a chance, definitely go check them out. Tell them the Birdman sent you. And definitely check that out on there. Yeah, listen, we've given you guys quite a few scenarios, right? Oops, let me put that in the comments. Sorry. We've given you guys a lot of scenarios, and hopefully a lot of good things to think about. And all right, we've covered a lot tonight. Scripture, movies, books, practical survival, and the big question we started with: can you survive the end of the world? Here's the truth I've come to: the end of the world isn't a place. It's not a moment. It's a state of mind. The people who survive are the ones who can adapt, not just to the environment, but to the change in themselves. Ms. D, what are your closing remarks for tonight's episode?
I mean, if you look at everything so very literal, make sure that you're not biting off so much that you can't understand all the other stuff that's going on around you. You know, you got to keep your head on a swivel. You know, I will never, ever, ever tell anyone, no, don't believe this. No, don't believe that. You know, you're going to believe what you're going to believe. But just be smart about it. You know, if you think that the end of the world is just a spiritual thing, you know, for you, it might be. And, you know, you may survive that. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, if the end of the world is about wiping out humanity, we can't survive that. We're not meant to survive it. You know, so we could either go insane with the possibility of, well, you know, what can I do to change it, or we can accept it. And if we accept it, that's when you open yourself up to more of the theological sense, and accepting your fate, and how to evolve from there.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that. Okay, so here's what I'll say. The Bible says that there will be a time of distress like no other, and that some will be delivered out of it, while others will be delivered through it. The difference isn't about where you stand with God. I am not in the business of judging that at all. I mean, none of us are. The difference is about what you're willing to become. Are you willing to become someone who shares it when it hurts, or are you someone who works when it's pointless? Some people who lead, some who lead when everyone else is hiding. What kind of person are you going to be? That's the real survival question. What are you going to become when the situation happens, when this all occurs? I'm hoping that this really was a fun episode for you guys as much as it was for me. I really enjoyed it. These are fun episodes. I like to do these kind of things because they're different from what we normally do.
And no research necessary.
No, it's really not. I mean, it's kind of I put together like a little format, but it wasn't really much research going in. I was able to pull out some of the links that I used. I was able to pull those out and put it part of my my format. So it was a fun little thing to do. I really like doing these types of things. So I always look forward to it. What do we have coming up Monday? It's the
afterlife and the mini variants. Yep.
Yeah, we got the Afterlife and the mini variants.
And then
Other
Wednesday is the Delphi case.
Yeah. So we'll be revisiting that. We actually did an episode on that one before. We're going to be revisiting that one. We have some updates on that, so we'll revisit that one as well. So I'm kind of looking forward. I'm looking forward to that one as well. I think I can't remember who was that was with us on that one.
I don't know. I
I'll have
was
to go back
not
and look. No, yeah,
with
it's
the
just
show
before
at
you
that
joined.
point. So
Yeah.
And I'm not familiar with it, so I got to get reading up on it.
Yeah. So it was an interesting case. So and there's some ties to that case that is tied to some things that are going on today. That I did not know of until somebody brought that back to my attention. So I like, you got to be freaking kidding me. Like, would you please stop with all this, for crying out loud? But no, that's not going to happen. So it pretty much is what it is. Listen, I really appreciate everybody for joining us for this episode of the Birdman Show. Oh, definitely let me know when you're gonna do that. She says she's trying to decide when she might do a live reading of her book. That would be
Yes.
exciting. That'd be extremely exciting. And for somebody like me, I'm gonna tell you, I don't know if you have done it or not, or if you're considering doing it. I'm always on the go, or I'm always doing some type of work, so I'm always listening to podcasts and stuff like that. If you haven't done it, or if you haven't thought about it, consider thinking about doing an audio version of the book. Because for somebody like me, I'm saying, I rarely get a chance to sit down and just relax enough to where I can read a book. But I've gone through quite a few books in the audio version of the book. So if you oh yeah, you haven't done it yet. Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm getting the book. Don't trip when I'm still getting the book. But if you do the audio version, I'm telling you right now, that's gonna be a huge hit. Because you got to think about what people are doing right now. Yeah, you can download a book, put it on your phone, put it on your tablet, have a version of it. But you talking about having an audio version of it? Why do you think I do the audio version of the show? Because people play it in their cars while they're driving. I ran into somebody in freaking Branson that followed the show. Like, seriously, like, yeah. So yeah, we've got quite a few people that I've met over time. So yeah, Erica says, as a former Girl Scout veteran and nurse, and God, I've got a lot of work with protecting and helping others. Good. Yeah, I know. All right, no, girl. I ain't tripping on that. She also says, I haven't had time, and my phone has been acting up. I've had it for 5 years, and it's starting to wear down. I get that. And that's kind of how it's designed to do. So that way they make you get a new phone. Not like those old school phones. Flip phones used to last forever. Mostly why I haven't done live yet. Get it, got it, understood. So it's all good. But yeah, like I said, definitely appreciate everybody for joining us for this episode of the Birdman Show. Like I said, we'll be back Monday for Conspiracy Files, where we talk about the afterlife and its many variants, and then we'll be back next Wednesday for another episode. I think we've got 2 episodes of the Birdman
Yeah,
Show.
it's the Delphi case next Wednesday, and the following Wednesday is our mental health check-in,
And that's the final episode.
and that's the final episode for season 8.
That'd be season 8's coming to an end of the Birdman Show podcast, and then we'll be taking 2 weeks off for a reset, and then also to start preparing for season 9, and getting that ready. I might try and make an audio once I figure out. Oh yeah, definitely. And like I said, don't forget, we got to get together, because I would love to do a version of Nerd Talk and make it part of the show. I have a segment for that, make it part of the show. So don't forget to get with me on that. All right, sis. But yeah, listen, I enjoyed this episode immensely. I thank you guys, like I said, once again, always for joining us and being part of this. You guys make this that much more enjoyable. So thank you guys for very, very, very much. For Mace Valor, for Bambi, for Ace, and the Ace Horror Ets. I don't know, Ace Horror Nation, whatever.
Ace for fam.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know why I said Ets. I don't know. Whatever. Ace Horror fam. Death Light into his I love you. Love and miss you too. But and also for Miss D, right there. Oh, our resident mama bear. We appreciate, love you guys so very much. I am the Birdman. And the Birdman Show is out. So why don't you go ahead and do it with us one time for the one time as we get up out of here. That's right. And we out.